Today we have shown, I think, in more detail. We've shown you guys the third round of hunters. We've sort of gone through those guys and given you a lot more sort of in-depth or a more in-depth look at them. And we've also shown you the rest of our game modes. You know, obviously we've still got hunt, right? But then we've shown nest mode, rescue mode, defend mode, and then the sort of mode that sort of ties them all together, evacuation mode. It's a less competitive sort of focused mode where, you know, if you want to go in and, you know, and you're all about the sort of competition, then, you know, you can go in and just play hunt, you know, straight up. This mode is more for, you know, just you want to get in, you want to have fun, you want to have a little bit of a more immersive experience. You know, you can play it by yourself, you can play it with as many friends as you might have or, you know, as you want. You can play it, you know, full on, you know, with a full hunter team and a full monster team. You can play it by yourself as the monster. So it serves a couple different roles, right? I mean, one, it allows you to go in and play and sort of, like I said, sort of have that light narrative, you know, that, you know, basically the evacuation of Sheer happens over 5 days, right? And each day is represented by a round. And at the end of each round, there are consequences for winning or losing. So if the monster wins, you know, the next map will be affected in some way. And likewise, if the hunters win, the next map will be affected in some way. The other purpose that it serves is that, you know, it's a great place for training. You know, particularly, you know, if you want to play, you know, solo, and you just unlocked, you know, the Kraken and you not quite sure how to play him, you can, you know, just jump into evac mode, you know, and play through, you know, your 5-day story arc and sort of learn the ins and outs of that monster before you take him online to either kill or be killed. They asked us to come up with this, you know, how many different combinations can happen in evacuation mode, you know, given all the sort of variety of, you know, of factors. And Chris and I were kind of like, you know, I don't know, you know, that's math. So, you know, we asked one of the guys in the studio that is good at math to figure that out. And yeah, it came out to be like about might have been 800,000 on the dot. So to give you an example, like say you're playing in the power plant map, right? And you're playing as, you know, the monster and the hunters, of course. If the hunters win, the next map in, you know, the next day, essentially, whatever the next map is in the lineup, we'll have powered up sentry guns that'll be in the map, right, that can, you know, help the hunters. Basically, the monster, you know, will be getting shot up more. If the monster wins, that basically means that the power plant was destroyed. So in the next map in the chain, there will be radioactive clouds, you know, moving through the map that are damaging to the hunters. So basically what you're doing is winning, you know, it sort of gives you this kind of like bonus effect for the next round. Now those winning effects don't stack, right? So if, you know, I won't have to deal with radioactive clouds for the rest of the 5 days, right? It just depends on who, you know, wins the next match, right? To see what the campaign effect is. And then it's worth noting that the first round is always hunt in evacuation mode, but then subsequent rounds, the next 3 rounds are voted on by the players, right? So, you know, once you win, you'll get 2 choices that are sort of relative to, you know, the position of the map, you know, sort of on a grander scale. So, you know, the power plant map is next to, you know, the distillery or the dam, right? And you can vote, you know, which one you want to go to next. And whenever you're playing in evacuation mode, particularly solo, right, you and as hunters, you have 4 hunters, you know, on the team. The really cool thing about it is that if you're playing by yourself, or, you know, if you don't have all your slots filled out, even if you have a buddy, that you can bot swap. So basically, what it does is it allows you. Say I picked Hank, right, and I'm playing Hank, right, but then I see an opportunity, you know, that maybe the AI is missing or whatever. I can swap into that other character, like the Trapper, right, and I can do what it is I wanted him to do, right, and then I can swap to, you know, the assault character, right. And the cool thing about it is it lets you be the star of any particular moment, you know, relative to how the game works. So, you know, early on I can be the Trapper and I can, you know, be the star of finding the monster, right? And then once we find them, I can be the assault. I can be the star of doing damage, right? And you can just swap around. You can try them all out, right? And it just gives you a really great way to sort of get good with all the different characters. The final mode is always defend mode, right? And sort of our in our fiction, basically Sheer is overrun by these monsters, and so the colonists are evacuating. And in defend, there is sort of a big deep space travels evacuation ship that is fueling up, right? Everyone's sort of getting onto it and getting the hell out of Dodge, right? And the monsters, are coming en masse to try and to destroy this. And so as the hunters, what you're trying to do is you're trying to hold the monsters back. And the way that works is there are two perimeter walls outside of the fuel pump that is filling up the ship, and there are generators that supply energy to those perimeter walls. Right? If the generators go down, the walls fail, and the monsters can move through into the next phase. As the hunters, you're trying to stop that. As the monster, you get to start as a fully grown stage 3, what we're calling an alpha monster. And then you have a whole bunch of sort of minion monsters, which are basically sort of slightly stunted stage 1 Goliaths, right? And these guys are AI controlled. They're a lot like creeps, Yeah,
it sort of seems MOBA-like.
Yeah, definitely. They are fairly single-minded in that they know that their job is to go destroy that generator. You can distract them, if you're a hunter, if you do a lot of damage to them, they'll get kind of pissed off at you and come after you. But for the most part, they know that's what their job is. Now, as the monster, the alpha monster, your job is basically to clear a path for them, right? To make sure that they're in there doing damage to the generators, keeping the hunters out of the way, and basically causing all kinds of mayhem.